Hi everyone, welcome to today's team meeting. Look at the sky behind me. I need more light though, so I'm gonna have to do that. Okay, welcome. Let's get started. It's January 13th and time for today's Wednesday meeting. Thank you for pressing play, by the way. Thank you for watching. Thank you for laughing with me. Thank you for growing with me. Guess what? I have an official full episode out for my podcast. So wherever you get your podcasts, you should see the new episode. It's called The Beauty of Mistakes. I just released it this week. My plan is to upload a new episode every Wednesday. So I'm working on another episode, which is more of an introduction to me. I'll get into that and why it's taken so long in a few minutes. But first, I wanted to first remind you that this is the Arizona weather, so you'll be seeing me outside a lot. Hopefully I'll give you some nice views. 2, it's a historic day for Americans in history and politics. I study politics, so I follow it with another impeachment. We'll see how far that goes. Next week, an inauguration for a new president, and a lot of excitement and tension. But when we do these meetings, have our meetings, we are maintaining our own thermostat, our own thermometer. The thermostat versus the thermometer. The thermostat is where you set what your joy level, your peace level is going to be. And you don't let the outside world, you don't let terrorists, you don't let politics determine how you feel about your life. And it's a challenge. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. The thermometer is when you decide you feel bad when things are going bad. You feel good only when things are going good. Let's work together in these meetings to get better at being a thermostat rather than a thermometer. A thermometer will get you sick, make your hair fall out, make you not be able to sleep, make you grind your teeth. I know, all these things. I'm totally familiar with it. Let's just be conscious of it and our ability to do our best to make adjustments around it. So today's topic is, are you learning? Let's see, where can I start? First of all, I just wanted to throw this out there because it's something I'm thinking about saying on my next date. Because I'm horrible at small talk. I am horrible. I like to get right to the heart of what you're dealing with. And I go too far and I'm too intense. And so all of a sudden I'm like, what are your deepest childhood memories and how are they driving you now? Who wants to talk about that on a date? I once went on a 3-minute date thing where the men and the women circled and changed seats to date. And I was towards the end of the line. And I think all the men were running out of steam by the time they got to me. We only had like 3 to 5 minutes. Not enough time for me to go deep. I hate small talk. None of the dates went well. It was a disaster. But I'm glad I did it. A certain person who hopefully will see this video will remember that we did that in Chandler. So the thing I'm going to bring up on my next date, whenever that happens, maybe 2022, 23, is I'm going to ask them if they've ever pet a kangaroo. Have you? Have you ever pet a kangaroo? I have. They're mean-looking animals, and they're creepy, and they're not cute. They're cute on TV. They seem sweet. They seem like the little pockets have like soft lining, like a Sherpa lining, like sweet. No, I was very intimidated when I pet a kangaroo. And it was actually in Australia. I have a video of it. I'll have to upload that again or share it again. So thinking about that, just make that a list of things that I'll share. Let's talk about learning. What am I learning? Oh my God, so much. And learning is painful. It's painful to learn. It's painful to grow. It's painful to get out of your comfort zone. When I taught cycle, I said over and over again that you have got to get out of your comfort zone to grow. You've got to lift the weight to grow the muscle. You've got to endure the discomfort in order to get to the other side of victory. Everything that we get comes with some struggle because we have to be a better, a stronger version of ourselves to receive it. To get my daughter, the struggle. And I say struggle because I'm a person of faith, so it wasn't like I did it alone. It wasn't like I used my faith. But I had to control my emotions and my actions and my thought patterns. And that was hard. I wanted to give up a million times. But I have a beautiful daughter as a result of enduring and being stronger. When people get on the bike with me, I would always say, don't be intimidated by this resistance. It's preparing you for something outside of this cycle room. I maintain that. I'm not teaching cycle, but I maintain that philosophy that if you hold on to the resistance and don't resist the resistance, say this is here to teach me something. I know this concept is not always easy, but just don't give up. Don't stop. Don't walk away from the challenge just because it's a challenge. With creating a podcast, I've had so many challenges. I filmed the first episode, introduction, 3 times. The first time I filmed it, couldn't hear it. Sent it off for editing, they couldn't hear it. Second time I filmed it, I sounded like a cougar. And not because of my age, but because I literally sounded like I was pursuing another small animal to eat. I was breathing so hard. I sounded so intense. And I think it was the settings on the microphone. But I was like, I'm not putting that out. I'm not going to sound like a cougar. I may be a cougar, but I'm not going to sound like a cougar on my podcast. So I had to record the introduction again this morning. This is the 3rd time. I started between the week of Christmas and New Year's. I had all these challenges because I don't have an IT department anymore. I used to work in corporate America. I would call, they would take control of my screen, and that's how I solved my problems. Now, I'm IT. Me and YouTube and Google and Bing and Yahoo, all those guys. So this is the 3rd time I did it this morning. But here's what I decided. Every time I re-recorded, I'm more practiced in recording, and maybe what I said is better than what I said the previous 2 times. I have to believe that. Rather than giving up and saying I can't be a podcaster because I don't know what I'm doing, I just recorded another episode. So don't give up on your thing. I had another challenge, something I also learned. I set a goal that was way high to achieve 1,000 rides on my Peloton bike by January 1st. I was nowhere near it at January 1st. But here's what I learned. That setting a goal and then redefining what that date is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of growth. The old me, the previous versions of me, maybe younger years ago, would have not accepted the fact that I didn't meet that deadline because I wouldn't want anyone to judge me as a failure. So I would have probably hurt my knees, hurt my hips, risked an injury just to say I was done. I probably would have spent 8 hours, rode all night just to prove that I could do it. Who would I have been proving it to? I don't know, just the world. This version of me said, I'm going to work really hard. When I got closer to January 1st, I realized I'm not going to make it. So I redefined what this deadline looks like. And so I said, in order to get there, I'm going to need to ride, to get to January 1st, I'm going to need to ride the bike maybe 5 or 6 hours a day because at the rate of speed I'm slow. I have a daughter, I have a life, and I want to protect my joints. So I had to get another plan that still would get me to completion the first week of January. I finished on like January 7th or 8th. No, 7th. I finished January 7th, like at midnight. So I was still riding hard. I was still doing long days, sometimes an hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half at night. And you ask, why is she doing such silly things? The reason why is because I like to practice endurance, physical endurance, so that I can use it when I'm not riding my bike. Like I said earlier, resistance. I like to practice resistance so that I can use it outside the bike. Maybe you don't like to exercise. Maybe that's not your thing. So maybe you're going to need to find a way to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's my way of doing it physically. Because I finished January 7th and I went right into a challenge with Peloton on January 9th and 10th. What was the challenge? I made a commitment to ride 60 miles between the 9th and the 10th. That means I had to ride my bike however many rides it took, as long as I had equated to 60 miles. So on Saturday, all day I'm riding my bike. But here's the difference. When I got tired, when my butt hurt, when my knee hurt, I got off the bike. I made lunch. I played with my daughter. I cleaned. I did all kinds of things in between the bike rides because I committed to 60 miles, but I didn't commit to hurting myself. I committed to challenging myself. And if I didn't hit it on Saturday, I still had Sunday to do it. And I had the momentum behind me from reaching 1,000 miles safely and challenging myself despite the obstacles. I learned to be kind to myself en route to my goal. Can you learn to be kind to yourself? Here's some things we do that we need to learn from. My suggestion, there are other things, a million things that you probably need to learn from. Ladies and gentlemen who are single or divorced or whatever, stop tracking what your ex is doing on social media. Whose picture did she like? Who is she tagging with? Who is she out with? Who does she have a mask on with? Whose pictures is he liking? Stop doing that. Learn that you don't need to chase after someone. You don't need to check up on someone. You don't need to be consumed by anyone. Be consumed with your personal growth. Rant over. What else might you need to learn? Don't be a victim. Things aren't happening to you. If you keep thinking things are just happening to you, I did it for years. I used to think nothing good ever happened to me. That was like on in the ticker tape of my mind. Nothing good ever happens to me. And I used to rehearse it in my heart and my mind all the time. Victim, like I was a victim of life. Turn it around by using gratitude or something. Something like gratitude works best for me, which means I'm not going to go around here saying nothing good ever happens to me. I'm going to find the good that is happening to me, which will give me momentum to hold on to the good that I want to happen to me. Is that a rhyme? Do you get it? Today, I sat in my daughter's room and I almost cried because I have a daughter, a whole daughter. I've learned to be kind to myself. I've learned to use gratitude to keep me from feeling like a victim. What else can you learn? If you're grieving, if you're sad, if you're lonely, therapy. Call a friend, text a friend. Text me, call me. I'll talk to you. I am familiar with grief. I am familiar with hopelessness. And I know the heartbreaking nights, afternoons, evenings, days that you go through after you lose someone or when you're just generally not happy with your life. You need to reach out to someone. What's your action for today? Where can you learn? What is presenting itself as an annoying challenge in your life right now? Me? I'm starting a business, a podcast. I'm going to do some freelance writing. I'm doing all these things that are very uncomfortable, but very much what I wanted to do all my life. And I'm parenting in a pandemic for a toddler. Toddlers like to be busy. And, also, I think I talked about this today. I'm still thinking about ways to show my nephew I'm cool because even though I don't have a pet pig, I'm still stuck on that. I'm probably going to practice my TikTok dances for the weekend, but he has a tournament, so that's not going to happen. Baseball. I'm going to find him, and we're going to dance. Find the areas of your life where you're challenged. Lean into it. What do I mean by that? Like, just pause for a minute and say what you can learn from it. I kept redoing that podcast. I'm like, this sucks. I'm wasting time here. I'm burning daylight. And I realized maybe it needed to be better. Maybe I need to surrender to the fact that I just needed to redo it. Stop staying stuck, condemning myself for a mistake. Don't condemn yourself. Learn from it. I love y'all, and I thank y'all so much for tuning in. I've got my first episode up of the podcast, The Beauty of Mistakes. Go wherever you load your podcasts and listen to it and tell me what you think. See you again on Friday for our next team meeting. For action, what are you learning? What can you learn? Learn, laugh, grow. I love y'all. Thank you. Greetings from Phoenix. Is that lipstick on my teeth? Oh, that's awkward right at the end. I'm sorry, y'all. I love you. We'll talk soon. Bye.